Welcome back to Librophiliac Knits. I'm your host, Kat, the knitter and reader extraordinaire. I have been verging on prolific lately, I don't mind saying. I cannot believe how many things I have finished recently. It's not my usual MO. Most of the time I'm slow and steady, one or two things at a time. Everything takes forever. But I had some special requests, and it really kind of got things going for me. So let's see. Today we're going to talk about works I have in progress and things that I have finished. And I haven't purchased anything new, so no new acquisitions. And then maybe I'll talk a little bit about some reading I've been doing. And then I gotta go. Because the World Cup will be on at 1 o'clock. And that's in 20 minutes. Well, that's unlikely to work out. That's okay. I'm not actually a huge soccer fan. I just live with one. So without further ado, let's see. Works in progress. It already is starting to look a little beat up because I have been wearing the crap out of it, even though it's not done. This lovely beast is my Douglas cardie. This is a design by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits. And I am shedding all over it. I used mandala yarn. Here, I'll show you what I'm talking about because it's kind of great. It's a self-striping yarn, and it came in mass quantities. And I had some big feels about it initially because, see, the way that you knit, it's all bottom up in one piece, and then you do first one side and the other, then the other. So you see that the yellow and the orange here, they don't match. But I decided that I did not want to try to make them match. I thought that it was just too much fun to let things go. Hang on one second. This is the sort of cake I was talking about. It's called a mandala bonus bundle, and it is 1,181 yards in a single take. So did I finish the whole thing? I think I did. This sweater right here is 1,181 yards plus a little extra. I had a regular, like, smaller size cake in the same colorway. Originally I had two of the smaller ones, but then a friend of mine was having a baby and I decided to make a baby blanket out of one of them because it's such a great color combo. And so I only had one left. So then I went to look for more, and I found these monstrous sized ones, which is great. But here, the pocket. I ran out in the midst of my pocket here, and then I just picked up with the same color from my secondary cake and finished the pocket. And I have a little more. I'll make a second pocket. I haven't done that yet. And right now, this is where I went a little off script, and I'm excited about it. This is the yarn that I will be using for the button band. It is some loud confetti. I also ended up picking up way more often for buttonholes. My buttonholes are more frequent than they're supposed to be. There's only supposed to be 5, and I think I have 8 because I just made them happen a little too frequently. Yeah, but that's okay. I have lots of fun buttons. So, it's gonna be loud. But the whole point of this sweater for me is just to have something that I can snuggle up in around the house. And it's super warm. This is just acrylic yarn. I'm not ashamed to say that this is some warm stuff. So see, this is how it's gonna, the button band will go up, 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 and around. That's what I'm working on when I'm not doing other stuff. I'm getting impatient, but it turns out that I'm not a huge fan of knitting scarves, so even a button band that is scarf shaped shouldn't be that bad, but oh, it's the worst. Oh, if you're wondering what I'm wearing, this is my flax sweater, which is a free pattern by Tin Can Knits. It has this cool detail of garter stitch just along the top of the arm and up to the shoulder. But I decided to stripe it gesundheit. Stripe it a la Stripes by Andrea Mowry because I liked that aesthetic, but I didn't feel like paying for the pattern because, you know, just didn't. Sometimes I'm cheap. Sometimes I have to be cheap. Here, this is one of the smaller size cakes, so you get the idea. This is a different colorway. This one's called Warlock. The other one's called Chimera. They all have fun nerd names. Oh, and this one, what was this? Oh, is Sasquatch. I don't know what I'm going to do with the Sasquatch one now that I've got a whole sweater done already. I guess I could do another, maybe for somebody else. I was pulling out the center to see if I wanted to do 2 at a time. I have just cast on for a pair of socks for my son for Christmas, as per his request. We'll see how that goes. And again, I am using a free pattern that is very similar to a paid pattern that I was interested in, but you know, Pearl Soho, which is allegedly, I don't know, I've never been there, and I have still yet to purchase anything from them, is a yarn store in New York, and they produce a ton of great free patterns, you know, always with the idea that you're going to buy the yarn that they sell, that they suggest, but you don't have to. The blanket I just finished for my daughter was a Pearl Soho design that I ignored the gauge on, and it turned into something so big that it fits on my king size bed. I think I told you, instead of being a baby blanket. Ooh, gauge is important in case nobody told you. So those are the 2 things that I have in progress right now, besides all the stuff that is languishing on the back burner until the holidays are over. But in the meantime, let me get my little pile over here of goodies. My sister, many years ago, I made her a pair of mittens, and sometime last month she texted me and said, "This little kitten has lost her mitten." And she sent me a picture of just the one remaining mitten, and this was a fingering weight Fair Isle mitten. I will insert some B-roll. But the thing about it was that when I looked at, you know, I originally thought I could just make another one. I probably still have some of the yarn left over. And that sneeze made my nose run. Excuse me. But I looked at the picture, and the mitten has gotten such good love that it is just beat up. And she would, if I made her another one, she would have one that was pristine and one that was, you know, all beat to hell, just fluffy and like, what's the word I want? You know, when you use something for a long time, it gets all fuzzy. And I'm sure, you know, it's super comfy that way. But anyway, I decided to make her some new mittens. And I chose to use my hand spun. And the hand spun that I used, let's see, can you see how fluffy this is? Let's see. There we go. Has Angora rabbit fur incorporated into the lighter color of the yarn, which I spun myself, which is why it is lumpy and all fun. It's a little crazy. So a friend of mine, he breeds and I think he shows them too, Angora rabbits, and someday I plan to buy one from him. I just have to get on the mission to be taking care of a rabbit full time. But in the meantime, he was not to the point yet where he was trying to gather the wool in any kind of official capacity. He was just giving them a haircut for the summer. And I asked him to give me whatever he had, which meant that there were a lot of like seconds and stuff that wasn't that great. But I just, I kind of carded it together with some wool that I had, and I spun it up. And then the blue was just something that I had also. I don't know. I don't remember the specifics of it. It's kind of a turquoisey color that I enjoy. And then the dark gray is leftover Plymouth alpaca baby grande. It's super soft and fuzzy, as you can see. But I made a hat and some mitts for my daughter and my mother-in-law last year sometime, and I had some spare, and I thought, what better to have on the wrists and the tips of the fingers than some nice and soft, and a little bit of Fair Isle for interest and warmth, you know. So hopefully I made them a little bit bigger than I would need because my sister is taller than me and her hands are longer. Hopefully these work out really well. I'm very excited about them, and they only took me a couple of days to make. It was like a long weekend project. So that was magical. I don't normally finish things in any kind of speed. And then Claire Garland does this free Friday freebies thing on Instagram where she puts out adorable free patterns that look like small animals, and I've gotten a couple of them. I don't always remember. Wait, no, that didn't come next. Sneak peek. Yeah, whatever. It's a baby penguin. Look at this guy. Oh, it's so cute. Hello. I gave it sparkly face. Can you see the sparkles? Kinda. So I made this fun little friend for one of my smaller niece, Thelma. She will hopefully really enjoy it. The 4-year-old was stealing this thing, and I'm gonna get a sip of coffee here. I just wanted something fun for Thelma. So I made one of those, and Chase loves it too, so he'll get one sooner or later. But then when we were visiting last year, my oldest 2 nephews, both had specific requests for things that I could knit them. And Ephraim asked for a shark hat. And this is from Fish Hat Dead or Alive pattern. I kind of changed it up a little bit. Obviously, there are no teeth in the original pattern, but I just cast on a nice gum colored pink 1x1 ribbing, and then I actually crocheted the teeth. I'm not a crocheter, but I figured it out. I wanted something that really looked like shark, and you know, when a great white jumps out of the water, their teeth extend like they're really going to eat you. So I thought that this would be a fun way to do that, and it gives another layer and feels much warmer. When I made a dead fish hat for my auntie years ago, it was like too loose. It can't be worn by humans. It just falls right off, and the nice long tail is heavy, and it didn't work. So she uses it as a prop. She has a life-size dog toy. I don't know where it came from, but it wears the hat. So yeah, I tried to be realistic about the gills and the shape of the fins, things like that, but you know, it's it's all really guesswork. I didn't try real hard. I did my best in the time frame that I allowed myself, and I didn't get too sad if it wasn't perfect, because I think that the child will like it. And that also really only took me a couple of days, which was awesome. And then in light of his request coming at the same time as his brother's, I got a wild hair to also make his younger brother a scarf. He has been requesting a red scarf. And so I look at this big guy here. Trying to make sure that it's something that can be worn potentially into adulthood if it doesn't get lost. So, got some spare. I added tassels. Good tassels. I was holding three strands of acrylic yarn together that I just had around. Oh, well, Wax gave me one. Thanks, Wax. 2 that I had around the house. 1 maroon and 2 bright red. And they're not exactly the same red either, I came to realize. So we've got some cool, like, depth of color. I don't know if you can see it, but they are all different. And it just turned out really well. And this was another free pattern whose name I've forgotten. It says chunky or bulky or something. And then it says muffler. The word muffler is in it. So it must be a British pattern. But that's fun. So I wanted to film today because I have to get all of those things off to the post office so that they can arrive in a timely fashion. Hopefully they are all appreciated. And if not, it's only like a week of my life. It wasn't that bad. What else can I tell you? Exciting news for me. I just got the word that the Minnesota Nurses Association has finally settled on a contract. So we will not be going back out on strike later this month, which I am so relieved about. I am just finishing up my orientation into labor and delivery, and the idea that I was going to then spend a week or more without the opportunity to continue to get better at this craft that I'm learning was kind of terrifying. And it meant that I was going to have to ask to have more orientation days. And if I'm going to have more orientation days, then I can't work any overtime. And if I can't work any overtime, then what am I supposed to do? I need to start working again, properly. The thing that I was hired to work is a 0.75, and while I was in the flow pool, I almost always picked up to a 0.9. So instead of working 2 12s one week and 3 12s the next, I worked 3 12s every week. And it's nice to have the extra time off, but it is not nice to have less in the paycheck. It's kind of painful, actually. So I really just want to get back to it. And plus, if I'm at work more often, then I can be learning more often, because there's just a lot going on. I still very much feel like a novice, and I don't want to forget what little I know in the coming up times. In the meantime, of my 120 book goal for the year, I've already gotten up to 164. Probably 90% of it is romance novels, because they are fun to blitz through and don't take much attention or thought, and perhaps fill a need that I don't always receive from my partners. Otherwise, why would I have started reading them right in the middle of being married many years ago? Sad. What else is going on? Oh, I reblued my hair a little bit. I've been making more use of my new bathtub, which I really love. And I've been working out. We've got a we got a treadmill for free off the Nextdoor app. If you are not familiar with it, there's lots of free stuff on there. And I've been trying to make use of it a little bit more, do healthy things for myself, since I really like to sit around and knit and read and do lots of stuff that's very sedentary. I'm trying to find a way to get my life in order so that I feel good about myself while doing the things that I enjoy. I really want to move the treadmill downstairs so there's by a TV. And because the downstairs shakes when you use the treadmill up here. The house is not necessarily that solidly built, and downstairs at least it's a basement, so it has a lovely cement floor. And there's a TV, so we could run and watch something instead of staring at the wall. It's the thing that's so fascinating about treadmills that I didn't realize is it's really disorienting. You run and you run and you run, and your brain is like, cool, we're moving. And then you get off the treadmill and you start to walk, and your brain has gotten so accustomed to the fact that the scenery is not moving that when you get off and start to move, even at a walk, it feels really trippy. I mean, unless that's just the runner's high talking. I don't think so. All right, my friends, this was a quickie. I really don't have much to say. I showed the mittens I made my sister to the ladies at work, and now they want me to make more and bring them in to sell. So I'm thinking about it. The socks I'm going to make for my son are Pearl Soho men's socks for gifting or something like that. I think I forgot to tell you. And what else? Nothing. I don't know. Things are looking up. It's a bright, sunshiny day. Some Christmas cards have started to come in. And now I'm not going to be too broke to actually buy things for people for Christmas that I didn't already purchase. So that's great. Yeah. That's all. That's all I got right now. Bye-bye.